Okay, welcome everyone to this afternoon class. Okay, Sadhu. Hope everyone is doing okay. So we'll continue from last week. If you remember, last week we talked about the first noble truth, right? Which is the dukkha. We talked about that. And we touched on the most important philosophical aspect of dukkha, which is the five aggregates. And before we move further to the second noble truth, which is what exactly caused human being suffering, since the Lord Buddha mentioned that five aggregates of attachment or clinging on five aggregates is suffering, so it's important for us to understand what is five aggregate, what he means by that. Then we can move further to the second noble truth. Okay, this is very important, and I will show you exactly the definition of each aggregate that mentioned in the Buddhist text. There's so many teaching that talking about aggregate, at least 159 sutra that talk about this. So I try to find the easiest sutra that the Buddha used very simple language that we can relate it to. What is mean by form, what is mean by feeling. So we get to each one of these. Okay, hope we understand what are the five aggregates. So today objective, we will focus on two objectives. The first one, what is khandha? Khandha means five aggregate, same thing. That's the Pali, this is the English. Okay, so what are khandha, or what are five aggregate? And the second one is why clinging on five aggregate cause us suffering or dukkha. So two objectives, and hope to find the answer, okay, at the end of this class. So after the Buddha enlightenment, he gave his first teaching to the five aesthetic Panchavakkhya, and in that teaching is called Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. And in that sutra or discourse, the Buddha talked about three important concepts. The first one is he talked about the middle way. Second one, he talked about the Four Noble Truths. And the third one, he talked about the Eightfold Path, which is the number 4 of the Four Noble Truths. And he mentioned that the dukkha, okay, he tried to explain what dukkha means to the five aesthetic. Dukkha means pain, mental suffering, physical suffering. There are many aspects of dukkha. But one most important thing that he wants us to understand about what exactly that causes us suffering, he points directly to something called the five aggregates of clinging or attachment. Once we cling on the five aggregates, and then suffering happens. Okay, this is very deep. Remember, he discovered something very profound. So his teaching also profound. So we cannot take his words lightly. Dukkha, the first noble truth, dukkha caused by clinging on something called the five aggregates. And what are the five aggregates? This question to me is very interesting. Okay? Have you ever asked yourself who you really are? Who are you? Who am I? Who exactly is Luang Pi Nalongchai? Who exactly is Chön Han? Who are you? Okay? As a human being, outside we may look different. Okay? Skin color, hair, eyes, colors, different, height, weight, different. But if we remove all of those factors, we are all the same. You, me, from different country, we human beings, like this picture, we are the same. No different human, man, woman, doesn't matter. We are five aggregate. So we can say five aggregate is a human being. Okay? Five aggregate is life. Before we go further, some of you may have learned chemistry. We learn about the periodic table, the chemistry, like all the elements. Everything that exists in this world, all the substances, okay? If we look deeper, let's say this pen, if we look deeper, there is no pen. Okay? We find several basic elements that make it a pen. The classic example that everyone familiar is water. 2 molecules of hydrogen plus 1 molecule of oxygen become water. 2 of these become water. Wherever you mix these two together, in Nepal, in Thailand, in China, in America, you will get water. It's the truth, it's the fact. But once you break it down, you remove hydrogen from oxygen, water disappear. It returns to the atmosphere. There's no water once you break it down. But when you put it back in the right portion, 2 of this and 1 of this, you get water. So the question to you is, what makes us human? What basic element that make us human? This is the basic element that you can find in almost all the substances: earth, water, wind, and fire. Earth is something solid, like nail, bone, teeth. Okay, we can find earth element in human being. Water is something liquid or fluid. Okay, your blood, your saliva, and you name it. And wind is the movement of the air, like our breathing. Okay, we have winds moving in and out the body. And last one, fire, is the temperature. You can feel heat. If your body cannot hold heat, you die. That means your heart stops pumping. There's no heat, no blood, go circle around your body, you die. So after 30 minutes, once a man dies, you can be noticed that his body getting colder and colder, and it's pale, and that's dying. So 4 of these, the basic elements that make us human. But not just that. There's one thing that scientific or scientists have no idea. They never discovered this. They know this exists. Okay, scientists know. Okay, earth, water, wind, fire. But another element they have no idea. It's called the vinyana, or the mind part. The mind part is a knowing element. These scientists have no clue. With 4 of these, plus 1 of this, and it's become human, become a man, become us. Life exists. But once the mind separates from these 4 elements, the condition of human being is gone. Until you reborn again, you bring back these 4 elements plus another element, and it's become a man, a human being. So this is your mind, and this is your body. But today, the 5 aggregates, we will look deeper into this part, into this element. In order for us to understand this, there is no scientific equipment to prove it. We cannot see it. This one we can see, right? We can see hair, we can see nail, we can see teeth, we can see color skin, we can see the body part, but this part we cannot see. But this is something that the Lord Buddha discovered through his meditation. He sees from the divine eye, not from the physical eye. So keep that in mind. So we are going to touch on this part, which is quite deep. But again, there must be a way for us to somehow kind of understand and have some idea what it is. Okay, if you have doubt, that's completely normal. Okay, this is the mind part. The question is, how do you know that the mind exists? If someone asks you, Luang Pi, you Buddhist monk, Buddha talk about mind development. How do you know that the mind exists? How can we answer this? How do you know you have mind? What is one characteristic that can tell that we have mind? Thinking. Okay, the mind can think. What else can think? Earth, water, wind, fire cannot think. This element is a knowing element. In order for us to know, it has ability to think. Wherever there is a thinking, that is the mind. If you think of your home back to your country, that's where your mind is going. If you think of this classroom right now with me, that means your mind is here in this room. You with me. Everyone's okay? So thinking is one important condition of the mind. Mind has ability to think. So you can say it that way. So back to the 5 aggregates. We will go to each one of these to get to know what they are, and then we come back and summarize how it works. Today we want to go a little bit further to see how the mind actually works. Because the 5 aggregates is us. This is me, this is you. But we have no idea about who we are. And if we cling on this, the Buddha said that causes us suffering. And that is why most of us human being, we are trapped. We are in the realm of suffering because we have no idea about who we actually are. So start from the first one, form. I don't know if you guys need to know the Pali as well, or I don't want to confuse you, but okay, let's try. Form is rupa. Okay, rupa. Rup, yes. Form is rupa in Pali. Sometimes it's very difficult to avoid the Pali word when we learn Buddhism, but I try to skip that because none of us are fluent in Pali. Okay, but rupa is form. Okay, form is the body. Form is the matter, the substance, something you can touch, something you can see, something you can smell. Okay, from your physical sensation. That is form. Then we will get to know why the Buddha called that is a form or that is not a form. How do we know which one can be called form, which one cannot call form? Okay. And the second aggregate is feeling. Feeling is Vedana. Feeling is Vedana. Feeling, Vedana. Okay. Some of you from the Buddhist background, you may be familiar with the word Vedana. Remembering. This is Sanya. So the first one, Rupa, form. Second one, Vedana, or feeling. And the third one, Sanya. Okay, so you're familiar with the name. Sanya means memory or your remembering, ability to remember. And thinking, Sankhara. This word very confusing. Okay, don't mix with the word Sankhara anicca, Sankhara dukkha, Sankhara anatta. That Sankhara means everything. Everything is impermanent. Everything is dukkha. Okay, everything is uncontrollable, and is the same word. That's why it's confused. But when we talk about five aggregate, Sankhara in five aggregate means just thinking. But Sankhara in the Trilakkana or the three law of common characteristic, Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. In that case, Sankhara means all things, human, animal, objects. It cannot sustain, it's impermanent. Okay? And the last one, knowing, is Vinyana. So Vinyana is another confusing word. When we talk in five aggregate, okay, Vinyana means consciousness or knowing. And I like the way the Buddha explained what he means by Vinyana when he talks about five aggregate. It's very clear. It's very simple. Okay, so let's get to that. Okay, these are the five aggregate. Okay, five things: form, rupa, feelings, vedana, perception or sanya or remembering, thinking, sankhara, and consciousness, vinyana. Okay, this is the meaning of khanda or aggregate. When you hear the word khanda, you think of groupings, you think of collection, something grouped together. Okay, it's called khan, groups. That means we have five groups that make us human beings. The first group is called form, the second group is called feeling, third group, fourth group, fifth group. So these five groups make us human. Now let's take a look what the Buddha means by form. What I'm trying to show you here is sometimes it's very confusing when you read the Dhamma book or when you study by yourself. People share different ideas. So to me, I want to know exactly what it said in the Buddhist text. So I try to locate the sutra or the discourse that give us some simple explanation what the Buddha tried to explain what he means by form when he talks about five aggregate. In this case, the Buddha said, Bhikkhu, why do you call it form? Bhikkhu means monks. When the Buddha teach the monks, why do you call this one is form? The reason he called it form because it is the form. It is the form mean what? Okay, it is the form. The reason we call it form because it can deform. Deform means it can break. Okay, it can break. It's breakable. It can deform, and therefore it is called form. So whatever breakable, we call it that one is form. Okay, like this pen can break, the computer can break. Okay, you, me, we can break. We are having form, and why form can be deformed? Why is that? The reason is deformed because it can deform by cold, deformed by heat, deformed by hunger, deformed by thirst, deformed by contact with fire. Fire means fire. Okay, mosquito, wind, sun, and snake. Okay, it is deformed. Bhikkhu, therefore, it is called form. This is exactly when you study the Buddhist text, which the language you may not be familiar, okay, of the sounds of the language. So you need some help with translation. But in this case, to me, I feel the Buddha speak very direct. If you imagine yourself sit there with him, with all the monks, this is how he tried to explain to the monk, hey, you know why I call this form? Because form can break, form can deform. And why it can deform? Because if you get hungry, you don't eat, you die. If you get too cold, you die. You overheated yourself, you die. You get bite by snake, you die. Basically, we can die. Okay, the body can be decomposed, go back to the nature, and that is why he called this is form. Very simple. And the second one, why is called feeling, Vedana. This is how I really like this one, how the Buddha explained what is feeling, what he means by feeling. He said, Bhikkhu, why do you call it feeling? He said, because it can feel. Because it can feel. Feel what? Okay, you feel pleasure, you feel pain, and you feel neither of them. And that is why I call feeling. That is why feeling. There are three kinds of feeling. Okay, pleasure, pain, or neutral. Three kinds of feeling. When things happen, when you see something, let's say you see cars on the street, feeling occur in your mind. These three kinds of feeling. Either you like it, you don't like it, or you feel nothing about it. And that's what the Buddha means by Vedana. Simple but deep. Okay, we'll come back to this in a moment. Let's finish all of this first. And what he means by sanya. Sanya we translate it to remembering. When you read several Buddhist texts, they use different vocabulary. But you have to make sure that you understand what it means. Sometimes they use the word perception. Sometimes they use the word memory. Sometimes they use the word remembering, which is not exactly the same. In this case, why Bhikkhu? Why do you call this perception? The reason we call it perception or sanya because it can perceive. Perceive means you receive. I perceive that, okay, you wearing yellow color outfit, you have no hair, okay, you may be a monk, you from Nepal, you from Taiwan, you from Singapore. So I perceive information from what I see. And then perceive what? See, the Buddha give very simple example. He said, perceive this is blue color, this is yellow color, this is red color, this is white color. I perceive, it perceive, Bhikkhu, therefore it is called perception. Perceive can also mean that, okay, how do I know you from Taiwan, from Nepal? So that's from my memory. Okay? Because when you apply before you ordain, so I read your application, so I recognize your face, so I know where you're from. I have that information in me. So next time I see you, I can greet you. Hey, how is Taiwan? How is Nepal? How is COVID situation in Singapore? So I have memory about each one of you. That's why to me this is very direct. If we think of sanya as remembering, you remember. Okay. The next one, what is sankhara? Okay, we get to another confusing word. Sankhara, we translate it to thinking. When I read the Thai Pitaka, they use the word which is translated to English as thinking, ability to think. But in English, okay, they use different vocabulary. In this case, in this particular Buddhist text, they use the word volitional formation. Some texts they use the word fabrication. let's get to know the idea of behind this vocabulary. Okay, the reason why they call volitional formation is because they are construct the condition. They create the condition. They create the fabrication. How? Okay, they construct condition, form as form, feeling as feeling, okay, perception as perception, volitional formation as volitional formation, and consciousness as consciousness. Volitional formation, fabrication, or thinking point to the same thing. The reason they form as a form, feeling as a feeling, perception as a perception, because we think. We think because you think. You think of pleasure, you think of pain, you think of nothing. So it creates condition, and that condition will be a driving force for you to take action. Thinking can occur in two stages, in positive and negative. This is good and bad. When you like it, you want to buy, you want to have it. When you don't like it, if you don't like that person, you don't want to talk to them. So this gives you a different behavior. It's a driving force. It's come from here, come from ability to think good or think bad, from what you perceive. When you see, when you hear, when you smell, when you taste, when you touch, that vedana happen. Like, dislike, or neutral. When you like, you want to buy it, you want to have it. When you don't like, you don't pay attention. Okay, so sankhara is ability to think. When you think good, you get good consequence. When you think bad, then maybe bad consequence occur. That's sankhara. And the last one, vijnana. Let's say what the Buddha means vijnana. This is surprised me as well. Okay, vijnana is the spiritual word. It's difficult to understand. But what the Buddha explained here is very simple. He said, why bhikkhu? Why is called consciousness? Consciousness in one vijnana. Okay, consciousness. The reason is called consciousness because it cognizes or it knows. When you have conscious, you know. Know what? This example is very, mundane, very simple. He said, know what? You know, this is sour, this is bitter, this is smelly, this is sweet, this is hot, this is mild, this is salty, this is bland. The Buddha talked about the taste of the food. If you eat something, you know this is spicy, and that spiciness means you have conscious. You know this is spicy. You know this soup is hot. You know this tomato is sweet. You know the rice is bland. No taste. So he points consciousness or vijnana. He referred to knowing. You know. So when you know, that means vijnana elements happen. Vijnana is a knowing element. You know. Know what? You know, okay, I know the taste is sweet, the smell is bad, the touch is soft, the sound is beautiful, and that's vijnana. Don't be confused between knowing and knower. There is no knower in the eyes of Buddhism. Only knowing. This aggregate responsible for knowing, ability to know. But the element, vijnana element itself, is not the knower. There is no knower. Knower means permanent nature, permanent entity. Vijnana is knowing, not the knower. We are get to how the mind, functions. The Buddha said all mental phenomena have mind as their forerunner, in the sense that mind is the most dominant, and it is the cause of other three mental phenomena, which is feeling, which is perception, which is mental formation. Okay, these three things: feeling, vedana, sanya, sankhara. Feeling, remember, and thinking. These three things cannot happen if the last one not function. That's what it means. Because all of them happen simultaneously with the mind. they cannot arise if the mind does not exist. Let's take a look at example. Maybe help us understand a little bit clearer. So if we put these four things into formula, okay, feeling, remembering, thinking, and knowing. The knowing is on top, is the door. Okay, knowing is stand at the door. When you see something, when you hear something, when you smell something, it comes through the door first. But it happened very quickly, happened simultaneously. When you know that picture, you have feeling right away, you remember right away, and then you have thinking of that object right away. It happened very fast, but it just happened to be at the level of consciousness or knowing first. Let's say when you see this picture, what is this? Som tam, papaya salad. When you see papaya salad, if you observe your mind closely, what happened? You see the picture. In less than 1 second, you remember this food. Oh, it's a Thai food. It's called som tam or papaya salad. Why? Because you have tasted that. You tried already, and you know it's very tasty. You know that it has papaya, tomato, beans, it has dry shrimp, it has egg, it mixed with lemon, lime, and garlic and chili, and it's so delicious. And now some of you may feel like you are hungry. You want to eat. Why you want to eat? Because you remember the taste. And right away you know. You know first, okay, I know that food. And I remember what makes that food tasty. And I remember what's on that plate. Chili, garlic, fish sauce, dry shrimp, beans, peanuts, you name it. You remember. And then you have feeling, okay, you like it. It tastes good. And then your thinking come right away. Well, tomorrow I'm going to place an order. And it usually comes with sticky rice and grilled chicken, right? You even know something further than that because you remember the dish. This is how it happened when you see something, when you hear something, when you smell something. It happened very quickly in this cycle. Knowing, conscious, this thing, the trigger starts from here first, you know, and then feeling occur. Smell good, taste good. Feeling occur, and then you remember, you bring back your memory, what makes that food taste good, and then thinking start happening. Tomorrow I'm going to buy it. Oppositely, if you see some food that you don't like, oh, that soup is very spicy. I don't like it. Your thinking said, no, I'm not going to order that food. Or next time you see that food on the table, you will skip. You go to the next dish because you know that you remember, and then you think that this is gonna hurt my tongue, so I don't like it. So this is how the mind works. So this picture again, we can draw like this. This is knowing or consciousness. And then once you see, one is come through your sixth sense door, ear, eye, nose, tongue, and body. You have feeling. You have feeling. Once you have feeling, you bring back your memory. Okay, you remember, and then it causes you to think. Thinking happen. Okay, it's come here, whatever come here, come here, come here. So it happened very quickly in your mind. And thinking, like I said, can be good thinking and bad thinking. Good thinking can lead you to good action. Bad thinking, oppositely, lead you to the bad action. If you see the person you don't like, you have negative feeling. You have negative feeling, painful feeling toward that person. And then your thinking said, maybe I should avoid talking to him. Maybe I should avoid associating with him. Whatever happened to that person, you don't care. There's no loving kindness, there's no nothing. I just don't want to be around with him. So that's your action. But action comes from your thinking. If you think oppositely, okay, well, that person may be doing something bad to me, but deep down he is a good person. Maybe I should find a way to forgive him, maybe talk to him a little bit more, understand him a little bit more, open my heart a little bit more. So it comes from your thinking. Okay, but originally all information come to this aggregate first, the knowing aggregate, and then these three also happen together right away, very quickly. Feeling, like, don't like, neutral, okay, your memory show up, and then your thinking, okay, positive, negative, and then you take action, and that action cause us karma. Okay, it takes us to the next step. The next concept of Buddhism is a karma. Where did karma occur? Because of our thinking. Okay, your evaluation of the situation around you. We move to the next question. Why 5 aggregate of attachment cause us suffering? You guys see the picture? Okay, Luang Pi, I know. We compose of body and mind. This is the body, and this is the mind. Body have earth, water, wind, fire, and we have mind element, which is the knowing element, and it become a man, become us. Okay, and why these things together that become us cause us suffering? Why we suffering? Can we, be happy? This is what the Buddha explained. The 5 aggregates monks are anicca, impermanent. Anicca means impermanent. Whatever impermanent, that is dukkha. Whatever impermanent, it's suffering or unsatisfactory. Whatever is dukkha is without atta or self. What is without self is not mine, that I am not, and that is not myself. Thus should it be seen by perfect wisdom as it really is. Who see by perfect wisdom as it really is, his mind not grasping, is detached from what? From defilement, and then he is liberated. His teaching is very simple, okay, but again, it's difficult for us to understand. The Buddha tried to pinpoint that the reason, the reason of dukkha is because we cling on something that impermanent. Whatever impermanent is dukkha. This is what he discovered. He come to the conclusion that whatever impermanent is dukkha. If you cling on that thing, if that thing impermanent, you will be suffer in a certain level. And then whatever dukkha, that is without self. What is without self is, if there is no self, then this is not me. This is not my computer, this is not my house, this is not my car, this is not my wife, this is not my kid. You own nothing because it's impermanent. Whatever impermanent is dukkha. Whatever dukkha is no self. Whatever no self, and then you have no ownership over whatever it is. That's basically what is, what this sutta tried to say. If you look at this closely, form 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 aggregate. Each one of these is a condition of phenomena. Okay, it's a condition of phenomena. It stays together with condition, and each one of them has no permanent nature. It has no permanent nature. Of course, root form is easy to say. It's easy to understand. We born, we get old, eventually we die. This we can see. Feeling has no permanent either. Your feeling this morning, this afternoon, now and in the evening, not the same feeling. And your feeling today and yesterday, last month, last year, not the same feeling. It's impermanent. Your memory is impermanent. What you learned last week, you forgot already. What you learned few years ago, forget about it. Okay, it's impermanent. Your thinking also. The mind think very quick. It think very fast, it think very far. This is very impermanent thinking. Okay? And your consciousness also impermanent. Your knowing also impermanent. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't know. It's on and off. So when we die, the form also dies. Where are these things go? We said, okay, when human being die, The body die, but the mind doesn't die. The mind goes somewhere else. Okay, but Luang Pi, you just said it's impermanent. Whatever impermanent is dukkha. Whatever dukkha is no self. So if there is no self, then how can the mind go to the next life? This is very interesting. Okay. The word vinyana has two meanings. Okay, from the scripture, vinyana has two meanings. In this case, vinyana, or they call, the technical term is called vinyana khanda. Vinyana khan. Okay, vinyana khan means knowing. Knowing, you thinking of the flashlight. If you have flashlight, when you hit the button, you get the light. When you hit again, you turn off, the light is gone. So the light is like knowing. When you go to bed, you know nothing. Your knowing heart is not function. Okay, this is vinyana in terms of knowing. And that is why it's called impermanent. When you go to bed, you lost conscious, you know nothing. And when you wake up, you start knowing. When you wake up, you see the tree, you hear the bird, you smell the food, and then you start receive information. And now you know, and then you process. Okay, so all of this, they live together by condition. So we can say the five aggregate is just the condition phenomenon, the state that continuously changing with no permanent entity, no permanent nature in each one of them. So when we die, so everything here stop function. You don't know anything. When people die, do they know anything? No. They don't feel pain, they know no laugh, no need to walk. So they know nothing when someone dies. They feel nothing, they think nothing, they remember nothing. Everything's gone. But there is one thing that remains. Okay, the vinyana has two elements. The first element is called knowing element, and the second element of vinyana is called vinyana thatu. You know thatu. Thatu in Pali, in English we can use the word element. Okay, that or thatu. Thatu. Or this is the element. What element is the vinyana element? Vinyana element, which is not knowing. This is number one, this is number two. So vinyana has two parts. It stays together. The first part is know. It's just the duty to know. And the second duty of this one is stay together. This one has ability to keep, to record. It keep what? Keep your action. Good action, bad action, or we call merit and demerit. It keep here. Keep in where? Keep in this element. And this element, it doesn't die. It's carry on to the next life. But is this, don't you just say everything is impermanent? Impermanence, no self. If it's impermanent, how can it transfer to the future life? Our mind this lifetime and the mind from previous lifetime, is this the same mind or it's different mind? We talk about anatta. Anatta means no self. And then we talk about atta. Atta means self. The question is the mind this lifetime and the mind from previous lifetime, is it the same mind? If it's the same mind, that means it's atta, it's permanent soul, which is the concept of Hindu. Hindu means, doesn't matter how many lifetimes you have been born and reborn, it's the same person, same soul. This is opposite to Buddhism. It's not the same. Same soul means, let's say I myself, today I wear yellow, in the morning, in the afternoon I wear blue, I wear jeans, and at night I wear suit. So that means the same person, when he died, he just changed the form, but inside he the same. I just changed my clothes, but my mind is the same. And that's the permanent soul from Hinduism. But in Buddhism, there is no permanent self, no permanent soul. Like I said, I explained here, this is conditioned phenomena. It stays together as a condition. It's a stream of changing. It's a stream of continuously change. It's rising and falling, rising and ceasing all the time. It changes all the time. Change what? Again, this quite deep. That's why I said it's okay to be confused. The five aggregates, they are conditioned phenomena in a state of continuous flux, arising and ceasing from moment to moment, with no permanent nature in them. No permanent nature in them. This thing has no permanent nature. It's a continuously changing, falling and rising all the time, moment to moment. And that is why it's called anatta. There's no self. So all this, when it points to human being, if you look deeper inside, there is no I, there is no being, there is no owner of these five aggregates. Where are you in this? Where am I in this? We own nothing. It's just the condition of phenomenon that sticks together with condition, falling and rising all the time, moment to moment. But if you think of when you light the two candles, I have one candle here, I have light, right? So the candle burns itself, but before the candle die out, I get another one, I get the light from it, and I stay here. So this candle die. So is this candle and that candle the same? No, it's not the same. This one is gone. And how come I get the light? I get the light from here. So there's two things together. You need to be able to differentiate. So what we call by anatta, no self, means this thing is gone. You cannot hold on to this. Okay? At the same time, what we call atta or self is the idea that life can transfer, but it's not the same mind. It's the different. It's the new phenomena. It's a stream of phenomena, a stream of consciousness that keep moving from one life to another life. If you sit here and the river pass by, you look at the river, you see there's water there, and the next 5 minutes the new water come. The water keep on running. Can you say that is the same water when I look at it 30 minutes ago? No, that water is gone somewhere else. This is the new water, but it's the same water. See the picture? Same river, but not the same water. Same river. So that's the same idea, how one's spirit get transferred to another life. It's the same, at the same time it's not the same. Okay, so take information in mind. I know it's very confusing topic, and that is why I mentioned earlier that we're talking about something that we cannot see. Everything we talk here, feeling, remember, thinking and knowing, we cannot see. However, we have some framework to look at it. It's your job to go deeper. Okay, when we talk about this, something that we cannot see from our physical eye, physical ear, physical sensation, we cannot prove it, which is opposite from the form. That's why the Buddha don't touch much on the form, because you can see the difference, how it gets old, how it breaks, that easily to understand, easily to observe. But here it's difficult to observe. But once you have practiced meditation long enough, things may start making more sense, especially when you have something called the divine eyes. You see how it's falling and rising from the divine eye. The Abhidhamma did say that the thinking of human mind, okay, the mind thinking is very fast. Okay, in 1 second, there's a number that they calculate. I don't know how they get that number, but it's very fast. Like in 17 things happen in 1 second in human mind. Just quickly happen. And they explain what happened in that 17 things, what are they, how it works. Okay, so that's very advanced Dhamma which sometimes we can read, but it doesn't mean we can understand. But just keep in mind that in every religion there is some aspect that's very deep that human being may not be able to directly experience right away. So you need to give yourself time and to learn and digest and practice. When you get to that level, and then things start make more sense to you. So in short, I hope you see the picture that why 5 aggregate of attachment is suffering. Because you cling on something that not exists. There's no I. There's no you. It's just the condition of phenomenon, condition of this thing working together as a condition, continuously. Like, think of that river, okay? It keep on running. But we try to have that water stop and belong to us. Don't die, okay? Stay beautiful, okay? Be with me forever. We cannot force it. We don't have any power over that things. Same thing. We don't have any power over all of this. We cannot tell the body to stop getting old, getting sick, and please don't die. Okay. Here is the thing. This element also working together as a condition, and that is why whoever cling on this as permanent entity, me, myself, my wife, my kid, my car, my business, hold on and clinging on that. The Buddha said that's the cause of suffering. Because in fact, you own nothing. You even don't own your own life. Everything exists because of the condition. One of the important teaching of Buddhism is the Kamma, right? And that is why the topic of human mind, human spirit, human soul, okay, is another big topic in Buddhism. So the Kamma concept and these 5 aggregates somehow need to be related, right? If everything knows self, and then all the action, it makes no sense that when you make merit go with you next life. When you do bad thing go with you next life. How can we carry that action with us for the future lifetime? We must find a way to answer this question as a Buddhist monk. So study the concept of Kamma, study the concept of 5 aggregate, and getting to know more about the Vijnana. Vijnana, okay, here. This part we don't talk much. And people try to avoid talking about this because it's difficult to explain. Okay, sometimes reading just one book not enough. You need to read a few books, you need to talk to several people to get your idea clearer, okay, this one. But for this part, I think you get an idea that, okay, in order for the mind to be function, okay, it starts from here first, knowing first, and then this thing happen together almost simultaneously. But if the mind or your knowing element is not function, this thing cannot function according to the sutra. Okay, so you need to know first. So everything that the Buddha teach is related. We just have to see that picture, how they all related together. So I think we have fulfilled our objective today. We get to know the 5 aggregate, and we get to know why clinging on 5 aggregate cause suffering. What the Buddha tried to explain to us, that 5 aggregate of attachment cause us dukkha. Everyone have this answer. Can you answer by now? That hold on to this cause us suffering. What means by right wisdom? We will get to that when we talk about the Noble Eightfold Path. This is what the Buddha means by right wisdom. Okay, to see things as they really are. What it means by see things as they really are. This is not mine. Okay, this am I not, and this is not myself. So this is the summary of his teaching about wisdom. When you see things like this, you truly understand things like this, you are fully liberated. But how many people have actually get to that level? If you try to think from your own brain, it doesn't make sense. You still feel like I am Luang Pi Longchai, I am Luang Pi Nambarash. There's no way that you can let go of that. And there is a way to get to that level, same as the Buddha and all the Arahant. They can have a fully understanding and they can let go. Okay, so with that, Luang Pi done for today.